Good day, ladies and gentlemen. To my left is William Shakespeare, arguably the greatest writer in Anglo-Saxon culture, responsible for works such as Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, The Tempest, and Macbeth. Dead since 1616, he's continued to blight schoolchildren for centuries with immensely complex language, and most importantly, he loves rugby.
Good day, and yes I do. I'm sitting with Genghis Khan, founder of the Mongol Empire, which at its peak stretched from Poland to Korea. Dead since 1227, his lineage lives on through 0.5% of the world's population, who are genetically linked to him despite his empire being responsible for the death of millions of people. And most importantly, he loves rugby.
Thanks for having me, and absolutely I do. In the centre is our adjudicator, Socrates, described as the founder of Western philosophy. His ideas have driven critical thinking of the world and oneself all the way from its antiquity to the modern day. He was killed in 399 BC for being an anti-democrat and generally a bit of a dick.
Thank you, and I love rugby. Welcome to Rugby Heaven.
First off, I'd like to just ask you, Socrates, what are you doing with your hands?
What do you mean? What's wrong with my arms?
Oh, look at them. Looks like you're in an auction house or in some sort of B-rated rap music video.
I'm in Rugby Heaven.
Boys, come on. Let's settle down. Let's get into the main part of this. Let's talk some rugger.
Right, rugger. Okay, so, Eddie Jones. This England squad is the strongest I've had. What do you think of England's 2018? How would the Six?
Well, yeah, I mean, just taking that quote, for example, this time he's got the strongest squad. In 2018, we had a serious amount of injuries going into the tournament. And I think that showed because we obviously ended up fifth, and it was bitterly disappointing, especially from my perspective, due to my strong roots in the English society. So I don't. So I mean, I'm looking forward to the 2019 tournament, and I look at the 2018 campaign. Although it was disappointing, we're in a period of change. So I don't look at that as something that we need to worry about for this tournament.
Fair enough. I mean, we've gone from Grand Slam to first, having lost to Ireland, to suddenly fifth in Six Nations, even though a lot of them were very close games, less than 10 points in it, except for obviously the Scotland-England game, which was really, really exciting from a rugby perspective. And then we've got the England Autumn Internationals 2018, Shakespeare, 3 out of 4. Is that a good result for Eddie?
Well, when you watch how the games went, they were all really tight. 1 point margin in the first two games, 12-11, 15-16 against South Africa, and then, of course, New Zealand, where they could have really easily lost or won either game. So they're a bit shaky right now from what you can see. There's a lot of confidence that needs to be made up, and I still think there's a lot of team depth that needs to be added, because as you can see with a lot of the injuries, like Genghis mentioned, it's been tough to find some of these replacement players, and especially with Underhill being injured now and being ruled out of the Six Nations, there's another blow for an up-and-coming, exciting prospect. But, of course, it's always nice to smash the Aussies, of course, that always feels good.
Yeah, so as our fans can tell, there's a lot of England supporters here in Rugby Heaven from lots of different countries. Shakespeare hopefully not being a surprise to anyone, but obviously Eddie Jones' England record, just to remind everyone, played 35, won 28, so that's an 80% win ratio, which is pretty decent if you look at World Rugby. And then we look at Ireland. So what did Eddie Jones say about Ireland? Ireland have got to carry the weight of pressure. Obviously ranked second in the world, Six Nations winners last year. They went from a thriller in France to victory in Twickenham against England, and actually they won all 4 of their autumn internationals, which is pretty decent, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean it is. It's very, very good. And I mean, as Jones has pointed out, 4 of the top 5 teams in World Rugby are playing in this tournament, and it just shows that this tournament is the best. It's the best rugby tournament in the world. And Gatland and Schmidt have both said both of these things. So it's very interesting for sure.
And obviously we've got in the Ireland squad, we've got you can't ignore the fact that you've got Sexton, the World Player of the Year, and you have a lot of players from Leinster who are double winners, and obviously Andy Farrell is in the coaching staff as well, from a tumultuous time in England to a very successful time in Ireland. A team that Eddie Jones has described as having to carry the weight of pressure. Obviously, champions last year, Schmidt's record 46-1. One draw, 15 losses, 74% win ratio. Obviously, they beat Italy, Argentina, New Zealand, and USA in the Autumn Internationals. And they've got a lot of players from Leinster, the double winners, and obviously the World Player of the Year. So, Genghis, what do you think of this? Is this the Ireland squad?
Yeah, I mean, they're very tasty, to be sure. To be sure. And, what impresses me the most about this is the two coaches together, their combination. Especially, I mean, he talks so highly of Andy Farrell, and we may have missed a trick in England having got rid of him, but he seems to have come into his own since being there. Their defence is formidable at the moment. And as Schmidt was saying, he's obviously very happy with their overall game. He's just he's a bit concerned about their fourth quarter conceding and like the silly errors late on. And he was saying how you always need a bit of luck when it comes down to the fine margins. But at the end of the day, you make your own luck in this game, and Ireland have definitely shown that they are the team to beat in this tournament for sure.
Absolutely. And Shakespeare, I mean, what do you think of Andy Farrell?
Traitor! Off with his head!
For sure.
Honestly, how do you think he feels as a father who's destroying essentially his son's career? What do you give to your father and father?
I want to know what they talk about. I mean, what's Owen Farrell saying to his old man?
I mean,
is he nudging him and asking for some tips?
Surely that means he. Surely that means he knows all the tricks. He knows everything about his son. He knows defensively what his son is going to do in attack. He knows what his son is, how he's going to kick. He's taught him from a young age how to play rugby. Don't you think he knows better than anyone how to control him as a number 10, as a player, as a human being? They've just got a huge advantage in that, especially for the opening game. What, do you think they didn't spend Christmas together?
There for the swearing there.
No, for sure.
He's obviously very passionate about this. And before we get too bogged down in Ireland here, let's very quickly go through the England squad. So, what I've done is I've taken the liberty to look through all the positions and some of the players, and I'd just like to go from 1 to 15 and get your thoughts on who should be starting for England. So, let's start at 1, loose head.
Well, look, we've got 3 options at loose head. If you don't mind, I'll just quickly go in.
Yeah.
We've got Mako, obviously, and then these 2 new boys, Genji and Moon, who both look outstanding. I mean, for me, Mako's our number 1. The two Billies, fuck idiot. The 2 Vinopola brothers together on the pitch at all times is necessary. But I'm gonna angle myself towards. Shut up. I'm going to angle myself towards Genj to come off the bench if that were needed. I do rate Mooney though. Okay. Blue Moon.
So Shakespeare, would you agree with that? The first Billy and Genj off the bench.
Yeah, well, looking at some of these front rows, it definitely looks like some of them are related directly to Genghis Khan. So it's promising. It's promising. Definitely, you know, it's seeing some of these players come through, especially Sinclair, has been so impressive.
So obviously we've got the very promising Billy / Mako Vunipola, and I think we're all in agreement that obviously if he's fit, given that he's been out for a while, that he should be starting a loose head. I mean, number 2, Jamie George. Do you even have to ask, Shakespeare?
Well, I don't know why everyone hates on Hartley that much, to be fair. I do enjoy his sometimes, you know, I think he brings some strong character to the changing room. I think he's a good leader when it comes to, well, sometimes getting red cards, but apart from that, you know,
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say,
Well, it's
attention to detail, my friend.
yeah,
Attention to detail.
Listen, he's a wordsmith.
and we know he can at least throw a ball straight
That
into
is
the
true.
line out. So sorry, Tom
That
Young.
is true. So, Jamie
Yeah,
George.
I mean, yeah. I think to get past this, it's got to be George. It's got to be George.
It's got to be George.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Jamie
Let's
George
keep
for
this train
sure.
Going. Tight head. We've basically got Cole or Sinclair.
Yeah.
2 Lions. Obviously, one of them's been playing more recently. Who are we thinking?
Look, I mean, for me, it's Sinclair, just because of the sheer presence he showed in on the Lions tour. It was the find of the tour for me, in that regard, especially in that position. Now Cole's an old hand, brilliant. Bring him on later on if it's needed. If Sinclair's puffed out or whatever. But for me, Sinclair goes. He starts.
Yeah, same here. I completely agree with Genghis on this point. Sinclair's just he's a machine. You see the way he moves, it doesn't make sense. He's like a bumblebee.
His legs, they're like my torso. It doesn't make any sense. Obviously,
it's.
we've got the. Let's move on. We've got the locks. I mean, Marrow. We don't have to ask, do we? He's obviously going to be in there.
No, Itoje goes in straight at the top.
And then there's a big question: Launchbury, Laws, or Cruz? Cruz, obviously, Saracen's teammate. Launchbury back from injury, and Laws, I mean, a very physical presence.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go in again because for me, this area is interesting. You look at Launchbury, you look at when he was playing for England a year or two ago, and he was picking up man of the match every single game. He's an absolute beast when it comes to getting around the pitch and putting in the work. Now, for me, Laws is a different type of breed. He's like, he's an animal. He's a complete. The size of his arms are just ridiculous. He can get anywhere. He can tackle anyone from any distance. It's phenomenal. But for me, how I would set it up is I would have I'd Launchbury and Itoje starting off the game, and then I would have Laws coming in for that impact 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at the end, depending on the situation of the game. And depending whatever's happening in the game, you can switch between those two because Launchbury can go the distance, so can Itoje. So it's a very interesting, and obviously you can use Itoje in different parts of the pitch as well. So that would be my sort of insight on it.
And Bill?
Yeah, I don't know how to follow that. Genghis has obviously done his research today. Well, yeah, it's pretty much an agreement. I think Courtney Laws and Itoje are both beasts, and they're both incredible at what they do. Their work rate at the breakdown, not alone, as well as the tackle. If you look at the amount of tackles they do, the amount of carries they have. It's just always they're top of the stats at the end of the game. And
can I say one more thing? One more thing is that just with regard to the line-out, I mean, if you have the problem is if you have Laws and Itoje there, it's the line-out is slightly weakened. But if you have Launchbury in there at the beginning with Itoje, they run it smoothly, effectively, and I wouldn't say it's a tried and tested partnership because it hasn't really tried and tested, but I can see that being a very solid way forward, very solid indeed.
Perfect. We're in agreement then. Itoje and Launchbury. And funnily enough, I saw something today on BBC, which was a video interview where they asked all of the coaches for the Six Nations which player they would have from another team. And all of them kept very quiet. Eddie did his classic and said Silva from Man City in football. And then, funnily enough, Joe Schmidt was one of the few who actually answered, and he said Mario Itoje. So
but if I recall, he also said Andy Farrell, who we already had as defence coach.
Yes, he did.
Which is brilliant. I think that was brilliant.
Perfect. Okay, so then we've got 6. So we've got the blind side. So Shakespeare, who are you thinking here? We've got obviously Shields and Wilson are the 2 people who would automatically go there by default.
Well, what I've seen from Shields so far, it was exciting seeing him come from, New Zealand, obviously. He was the captain over there, working alongside Barrett.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's, very experienced, Super 15 player, captain
Very
of his
good
team.
At the line out as well.
I don't remember which team it is. They all sound just as silly as each other, the Crusaders or Hurricanes or whatever they were. But Brad Shields moved to Wasps, and
not as ridiculous
another silly name
as
to be
Sale
fair, but
Sharks. Yeah.
Well, when did New Zealand have Crusaders though, or any of that? Yeah, what's the Warriors? That's
Yeah,
good
it's
alliteration.
excellent alliteration.
Yeah, alliteration. There we
And
go.
Shakespeare's a fan of
See?
that. Hey,
He is.
Yeah, but I would, Wilson. To be honest, I thought he was number 8.
He can play
But
number 8 as well. He's played at number
yeah,
8.
he can. He can for sure.
yeah, but I don't know. He's too chunky to be as a flanker. So I think you definitely put in Shields there. He's done just enough to earn his place. I think he's obviously a big presence on the pitch.
Yeah.
He's a big guy, and I've seen him do some good stuff. Apart from that one tumble he did where he tried to offload and just threw it out.
Excellent. No,
but yeah, he's exciting and he's got a cool name. So.
yeah, he does. I mean, I do agree with you. I think Shields is an excellent player, but I think when Wilson, he was fortunate enough to get a chance back in the autumn internationals, and he took that with both hands. To be fair, and he's been unlucky in the sense that obviously we have Underhill now, who is just an absolute phenom, and I can't see if Underhill's fit, I can't see him not starting for a few years because he's that good in my opinion. So I'm a bit on the fence with. I mean, you were saying Shields, and I can see that, but I mean it's tricky for me. I don't know. I think if I had to toss a coin, I'd probably put Wilson in.
Despite Shields' chunkiness, as described by the father of English language. So then we've got number 7s and number 8. I'm going to put 2 names out there, and I don't think you're going to fight me on them. And really, to be honest, we've still got a lot more to get through. So we've got Curry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Agreement there.
Definitely. Yep. Curry. Yep.
I mean, his stats are ridiculous in the Premier League. He's smashing it in the tackles and in the turnovers, which is a key area for England, which been very weak on. And then obviously we've got the second Billy Vunipola at number 8.
Big boy Billy. Yeah, we've got to have him in. I mean, briefly on him, he just sort of transforms the whole ethos and the way we play. I mean, when he takes the ball, he doesn't just make a couple of yards. He makes a couple of yards, presents well. It means that everything is fluid, and it's just a pleasure to watch. Really, it really is.
I mean, England have definitely missed him. So obviously, a fit Billy Vunipola always starts, and then probably Wilson or Hughes, depending on how we're choosing the squad. Number 9, Youngsy. Everyone in agreement there?
Yeah, Youngs, and obviously we've got Robson, haven't we, on the bench? But I mean, just a brief word on 9 as well is that I'm just I'm a bit upset that Kerr's been sort of omitted. Always a fan of him, especially the last 30 minutes. An excellent addition. But I mean, we've got options there. Youngs obviously is the starter, and we'll see how this boy Robson carries on. So we'll see.
It's obviously interested on your point on Danny Kerr. He's got 626 most passes in the Premier League for 2018-19.
Wow, that's impressive.
Pretty impressive. Third place, Ben Youngs. So I think that speaks for itself. So it's a real shame not to see him there. But obviously,
well, it just shows that he's getting in the action all the time. He's a terrier, isn't he? He's always willing.
He's a classic.
Let's get on the front foot, boys. Let's go. I mean, yeah. So
yeah, and then obviously number 10, Iceman, aka Owen Farrell.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you've got to start Farrell only because if you start Farrell, it sets up the back line in a way which is going to be more productive to getting the ball to the wings quickly and being more attacking and also especially and more defensive. I mean, not more attacking, not necessarily before. But it also means that there's you've got your key man in a very key position at night. I want him at 10. 10's a very key position, obviously. Shakespeare, thoughts?
Yeah, obviously, great insight there from Genghis. 10 is a very
hey, good man.
Yeah. It's in football and rugby, so there's another one for me.
Don't mention that.
But anyway, it's obviously Farrell's the number 1 choice. Ford is I was a big fan of Ford, especially after the Argentina tour when the Lions were playing. I thought he really stepped up, and especially some of the penalties he was getting. I think he got a couple of drop goals as well that were really important. And I was really impressed with him then because he really has driven the game. But if you look at Leicester right now and their downfall in the Premiership, it's a bit
and
yeah,
you can
for
tell,
the first time in their history.
By the anguish of Jim Hamilton.
and just something to add on that. Obviously, you've got. I think everyone's leaning towards Farrell at 10. You can't talk about England without talking about Farrell. But George Ford, who does he play at Leicester? Who does he play next to at 9? Exactly, and I think that's probably. I don't want to be mean.
Youngs, of course. Yeah, I mean, you've got that key.
Half the reason he's in the squad, to be honest. Look, if you've got players,
I mean, look,
week in, week out.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is one of the best in the world off the front foot in attack. If he's on his day, fair play. The problem I have is that when we're in open play and the game of rugby is about possession. And when you have someone who, when they kick the ball in open play, it's a lottery where it's going to go, pardon my language, it means it puts a lot of pressure on the forwards, and it's very frustrating to see because kicking the ball away means you're giving the ball back to the opposition. And this really does make my blood boil, And Ford is he often does this, and for me, it's not. I wouldn't have him starting. He's got to come on it later on if we need that option. As you know, boys, my heart lies with Danny, and the fact that Danny isn't in the squad is heartbreaking.
So, in case anyone doesn't know about that, obviously that's Danny Cipriani, the man with the golden wrists. I think we're
the wonder kid.
Cipriani. To be fair, I think we can't really talk about him right now because that will be a half-an-hour conversation in of itself. So instead of going to the centres, I'd like to focus on the wings. So obviously, let me just go through some of the wing options here. You've got May, Ashton, Cockasinger, Noel, and Daly. I mean that's pretty strong, isn't it? That's a pretty nice selection.
That's very strong. Look, I'll let Billy Shakespeare take the hold on this one.
The third Billy apparently. So we've got Billy Vunipola, and Billy.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, obviously we've got the cannon, which is Elliot Daly. He's a given. He's in the squad. He can play
Elliot the Cannon Daly.
The kind of he can play 15. He can play either wing. As long as he can kick it on his left boot, he's sorted. So Daly's a given in there. But depending on plays fullback, I prefer him on the wing, and especially if he's brought Brown back. I haven't been watching Brown too much in the Premiership to see if he's been playing well with Quins recently. I know Quins are actually doing quite well. They're pushing for a top 4 finish, so exciting stuff. But Ashton for me and Cockasinger is these are two wild card elements. I think Ashton is obviously a safer bet. He's fairly capped in the England shirt. He's come back. I think he's done really well for himself, considering he kind of gave us all the middle finger when the bars destroyed us. I think he deserves a place in the squad. And Cockasinger, I think he could be a forward. He could play anywhere really.
He looks like one of these players that Jones wants to, have a big boy on the wing, an option for a big boy on the wing. And I get that. I can see that. But sorry, I cut you up. Tell me what you think.
Well, no, that's it. He's a
right,
boy.
yeah, no, well, I'm sorry, man. I'm itching to get in. I can't wait. I was thinking.
The only place that's
you were saying. I presume you're in. I presume you're in agreement that May would be on the other wing then, considering your analysis of the other two.
Oh yeah, May.
So Johnny.
So you'd go.
Johnny be good. Of course,
May on the wing. May on the wing with. Yeah, but the thing is, obviously, this is all. If Watson comes back, I think Brown sadly misses out. I love Brown because I love his passion, his aggression, but I think Watson's just got that raw pace that is just necessary. And I love the fact that we have Daly, May, and Watson if when he's fit. I know he's not now, but that's just absolute pace, and that's what you want in your back three. Brown's an animal, so that's great. I'm very happy with him there. So yeah, that's all good.
And he's got hair again.
Yeah, he's got hair, which is really bizarre.
He's got hair again, yeah, which more can be said for me.
So
hey, I'm not far behind. Look at
Shakespeare's the one
got a 5 or a 6 head over here.
Whereas Genghis Khan, I don't think has ever had any balding problems. I mean, look at you. I mean, Socrates definitely.
Yes, of course.
Well, a hat helps.
Of course, old Genghis.
Yeah. Anyway, just to highlight on Brown. So here's some more stats for you kids. Premier League, second highest offloads of any player in the Premier League. Mike Brown, obviously omitted last time for England.
Wow.
So he's got.
I don't. That's the thing. I mean, I don't. Also, can we just have a quick conversation about Alex Good, because we obviously listen to this other podcast and we watch a bit of Premiership rugby, obviously, and the other podcast being the Andy Good podcast with Jim Hamilton, and they're obviously chomping at the bit to understand why Alex Good has not been included in the squad. And to be honest, although he's someone I've never really had a strong affiliation with him or for him. But yeah, he's got some serious stats on him. Distance run, distance made. He's cutting it up every week in the Premier League. So Premiership.
Yeah.
What do we think? Do we think that he's missed out because Jones has favoured other people who he prefers, or what's the problem, Ed? What do we think?
So just to highlight that, most meters gained, most defenders beaten, and most try assists, Alex Good. Second most carries.
Exactly.
Well.
I mean, how has he gone under the radar like this? It's bizarre.
One thing from my perspective, just to say, I remember seeing Alex Good starting for England, and I remember seeing him drop a few balls and screw up in a fundamental 15 role, which you can't do. Which, to be honest, I love the Cannon Daly, but I've seen him drop very many balls as well that have been up and unders. And there have been high balls, and that's exactly. And
don't forget Brown.
I think Brown is the most solid choice out of all of them, to be honest with you. But I mean, I think I've just got some previous hesitations around Alex, and obviously he's smashing it right now in the Premier League.
Yeah. No, it's just interesting.
Right. Let's carry on with the centres then here.
Right. So just to summarise, then we've got May. We're definitely picking Daly. So whether that's at fullback or on the other wing, then who are we going to have a wild card? Are we going to have an Ashton and a Cocker Singer on the wing, or are we going to go for a safe bet in Noel or Daly?
But surely we need a fullback in the sense that are we definitely playing Daly at fullback, or are we going to put Brown in at fullback?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
Oh no! I mean, for me, I play Daly on the wing because he's been excellent there. I play Brown because he's playing very well for Quins at the moment. And we have May because of his pace and his. You have two very solid people there, two lines of attack. I mean, it's like the Farrell and Ford thing. You've got 2 10s essentially, even though he's on 10. I know that, but he has the creative ability of that. So for me, Slade straight off.
Bill,
move to the centres, boys.
Perfect. So the centres, the big boys here, the big boys. So we've got Slade, Devoto, or Thorley inside.
Look, I would jump in. For me, Slade has to start at 12. Offers so many options. He's got a good boot. He's got creativity. He's got good defence. He's gonna see us linking with Farrell. He's gonna see us moving forward in the best possible way. And whilst Tio has excellent defence, I think Slade gets the nod for me.
Yeah, I would completely agree with Genghis there. And I would put Slade in the squad. I think keep Tio as the backup. He hasn't done enough to impress me as much as Slade has. I think he's obviously very good in defence, but I don't have any standout moments for him in attack. Thorley, I have no idea who he is, so we can just cross him off the sheet. And let's move on to the outside centres, because that's where the real excitement is.
These are the big boys of the big boys now.
Excellent.
So you've got Teo here and you've got Tuilagi. Obviously, Tuilagi hasn't really been playing, but he's 27 years old, over 100 kgs, and last year he only played 12 games and scored 4 tries. This year, so far he's played 14 games and scored 6 tries. So clearly the old Tuilagi's coming back, and Manu looks pretty
Yeah,
exciting again.
and as Jones said, he's literally said he's fitter than ever, which is the best possible news for England. I mean, he's one of the first names on the team sheet if he's fit. Whether he lasts the distance, that's not a problem. You play 65, 70 minutes, get someone else on. You want him there though. You want him in the mix. He creates so much momentum. He creates momentum, which is what you need in rugby. You need the ball and you need momentum.
Bill, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I'd like to see Eddie make a bold move and start with Tuilagi. I don't think since he started that Tuilagi has even started once. He's only made substitute appearances, if I'm not mistaken. But so I'd really like for him to start and play as much as he can, especially against Ireland. This is the biggest game of the whole Six Nations, not just for England, but for the whole Six Nations. Sorry, Wales and Scotland and Italy. But yeah, I would definitely want to start with Tuilagi and have someone back up for the last bit if you see his gassed, or and hopefully just have him on for the whole game.
I can't argue with that. Manu's got to start really if he is fully fit. And one thing, just to throw it out there before we move on, Cocker-Singer, obviously a winger, but if I look at him and I look at the way he plays, I could easily imagine him occupying that outside centre role. Just putting it out there as a wild card.
Well, it's better than Noel as flanker, so.
Exactly. Right. So, should we quickly talk about the Ireland squad then? Okay.
Nah.
Moving on.
I think we're good.
Right. So let's move on to tactics and strategy. Who do we think is going to win? Is it going to be Jones? Is it going to be Schmidt? What's required to win? What do England need to do when they get to Dublin? Shakespeare, what are your thoughts?
Well, what I think is they need to get the basics right. Most importantly, they need to get the line out and the set piece right. I only mentioned the line out because of the autumn internationals, the two most tightly contested game being against South Africa and New Zealand, where the line out played the most crucial part of the game. Of course, when South Africa's line out fell apart, we were able to squeeze in the victory. And then when New Zealand dominated our line out, they were able to push through and steal a win as well. So I think with the experience the Irish forwards have, and especially with the home support they will have in Dublin, it'll be very hard for England to defeat them. So I don't see England being able to do that really. So yeah, those are my basic thoughts on it. I'll pass it on to Genghis now.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, as you say, I think that the pack is obviously key, but both packs are outstanding. For me, it comes down to how these two back lines line up against each other. The Farrell Sexton duo, how they're gonna play against each other. I'm really hoping that Farrell has sorted his tackling out and isn't doing this silly thing where he's going for the ball not wrapping his arms around, because this is the sort of thing, these fine margins where if he does this and gives penalties away, it's going to be very frustrating for English fans especially. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the two back lines showing a bit of flair, which they both have. It's going to be very enjoyable.
Right, so it's going to be a corker whatever happens. I mean, clearly Ireland have an incredible team here. They've got Farrell up against them, but then they've got Sexton, Murray, Aki, Tom Farrell, Ringrose, Stockdale, Earls, Carney in the backs, and the pack. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
The amount of caps they have between them, the know-how, set piece, as pointed out by Bill. I mean, it's England have a combination. Ireland, I mean, are very much, you know exactly what you're getting with them. Ireland are looking like what England looked like probably about 3 years ago, even a bit stronger.
Quickly, I'm excited to see England, because like I say, we haven't been settled, and we haven't been settled at any of the major tournaments for the last 2 years. And again, we're not settled, but again, we have new combinations, new things we can see, and it's just very exciting times.
Absolutely. Okay, so very quickly, literally 5 seconds each. What do you think the final score is going to be? Genghis, I'll send it over to you.
I think it's going to be obviously a very close game. I'm going to go 21-14 England.
Shakespeare?
Again, I don't think they're going to get a bonus point, so I would say 14-12.
To who?
To whom?
To Ireland, of course, at home. That's why the 14 comes first, Socrates. I thought you know that.
Oh,
Yeah, but people just say the scores sometimes. I would say. Stop trying to stir stuff up here, Genghis. If you ask me, which neither of you have, I would probably say that
No one cares.
I would say that Ireland have the know-how and the experience to see out England here. It'll be a tight thing. I imagine there'll probably be 1 or 2 yellow cards, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be 18-12 to Ireland.
40,000 Irish fans. Yeah. It's going to be a cracker.
Yeah.
So at least both you and me think there's going to be a bonus point in there, at least.
Of course. I mean, I can't go against the blood, you know.
Lovely. And then very quickly, where do you guys think that England will end up in the Six Nations? Bill?
Second. There's no other acceptable place, to be honest. We should be first, but we won't. We'll be second.
Second. Okay, Genghis?
I'm still being my overly optimistic, positive self with regard to England. I'm gonna say we're gonna win the tournament, and I think this first game is going to set us up nicely.
So, a Grand Slam.
A Grand Slam, or we slip up against some nobody like France.
Some nobody like France. Harsh words.
Oh yeah, it's the French. They lost against Fiji.
I mean,
exactly.
Hold on. What happened in the Six Nations? What happened in the Six Nations? We finished 5th. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this was a year
let's
ago.
move on. A lot can happen. Okay, so hopefully, dear listener, you've liked hearing us 3 madmen talking about this up in Rugby Heaven. And just very quickly, Genghis, one line as to what you think the game's going to be like on Saturday.
A man's joy is crushing his enemies.
Very nice. Shakespeare?
Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war.
Perfect. And from me, Socrates, your host, remember to find yourself, think for yourself. So let us know what you think. And until next time, swing low.